The Ocean Monument is one of the most interesting structures in Minecraft. It has many unique features such as being underwater and being a main source of prismarine. The loot from these structures is also not found in chests. Much of the loot comes in the form of gold and sponge blocks inside the rooms of the monument. These can be difficult to obtain, especially underwater while fighting off guardians. Oh, and you almost certainly will have mining fatigue because of the Elder Guardians found inside, which means you won't be able to mine anything. Now, you will have to fight these Elder Guardians if you want to conquer their fortress, but that is a good thing because they are another source of loot. Elder Guardians drop wet sponges as well as other drops similar to regular Guardians. One drop that is exclusive to the Elder Guardian is the Tied Armor Trim Smithing Template. This allows you to add the unique tied pattern to your armor, which looks cool and stuff. But the point is, you kill an Elder Guardian and you get the trim template, right? Well, no, there's only a chance that you'll get the trim when you kill an Elder Guardian. That's what we're going to estimate in this video. To do this, I'm going to kill a few Elder Guardians and see how many templates I get. Here's my little spawning station. I'm going to spawn in 64 Elder Guardians and see how many templates I get. I will then use my data to construct a confidence interval to estimate the proportion of Elder Guardians that drop smithing tables. Also, I should mention that I want my confidence level to be 95%. Okay, let's go. Alright, that was fast. I have the data. I got 18 armor trim smithing templates. So this means we take our 18 successes, divide by our sample size as 64, and get our p-hat of 0.28125. And then plug that into this equation for the normal approximation interval, and we have 10 successes and 10 failures, so everything is set. We just put in the numbers in. Well, we could do that, but I already did that in another video. Also, the thing is, this interval isn't very good. Instead, I'm going to use the much cooler Agresti-Coull interval, which is a better approximation. Now, you may be wondering, why is this interval better and why is the other one worse? Well, I don't really know, but smart people say that it is. Now, what's great about this new interval is it isn't too much harder to compute, but you can use it to impress all your friends and random strangers at parties. Okay, now before we construct the interval, we need to... As usual, we want our samples to be representative and independent. Mobs of the same type in Minecraft are identical, so the sample of Elder Guardians is representative of all Elder Guardians. We also don't want our sample to be more than 10% of the population of Elder Guardians. Because the population of all Elder Guardians is virtually infinite, we can say our observations are independent. Also, we want a large sample of at least 30. Our sample size was 64, so we can construct our interval. Okay, first we need to calculate our n adjusted by taking our n and adding z squared. In our case, that means 64 for the number of guardians, plus 1.96 squared, which equals about 67.8416. Then we calculate p adjusted by taking the number of successes plus z squared divided by 2, and then divide that by our n adjusted. In our case, this means 18 armor trim drops plus 1.96 squared divided by 2, and then we divide that by the n adjusted that we just calculated. This gives us a p adjusted of about 0.2936. The z, of course, comes from the standard normal curve, where 95% of the probability lies between 1.96 standard deviations from the mean, which corresponds to our 95% confidence level. Now that we have our p adjusted and n adjusted, we just plug those into this interval, which may look very familiar to you. It looks almost the same as the less cool walled interval, but with our adjusted values. After putting in our numbers, we get an interval of 0.2936 plus or minus 0.1084, or from 0.1853 to 0.4020. This is about from 19% to 40%, which seems a bit wide, but our sample size was kind of small, so this is sort of expected. While the sample size was big enough to construct the interval, it was still pretty small, and so we have a wide margin of error. But we can be 95% confident that we captured the true proportion of Elder Guardians that drop the tied armor trim in our interval. Let's check our work though and head over to the Minecraft wiki to see how well we did. According to the wiki, 20% of Elder Guardians dropped a tied armor trim, which is just barely in my interval. Good thing we had a wide margin of error, since 20% is a bit far from my p-hat of about 28%. So now we know, you might have to go to a few ocean monuments if you want full tied armor trim, but if you just want one, there's a decent chance you'll get one, since 3 Elder Guardians spawn in each monument. I'm just here for the sponges though. I hope you liked this video. Let me know in the comments what loot you like to take from the ocean monuments. I'll see you in the next video.